chilly morning. Morning guys, welcome to the channel. I am currently parked out by a lake this morning on the northern part of Vancouver Island. I think this is my second day here now. I've just been chilling, trying to get some videos edited and get caught up on that, and then gonna go do some more exploring this week. But that brings me to today's video, and as it is early morning here, I'm hoping not to disturb anyone, so let's go inside and talk about it. Oh, did I mention it's cold out? It's like 8 degrees outside. You can definitely start feeling that the fall is starting to come. As you're aware, if you're watching my other videos on the weekend, those videos are taking place about a month back, where the videos right now are very much like up to date. Like this video will be out tomorrow, which will be Wednesday. So in this video, I want to talk about what it's been like in comparison living in the truck camper versus living in my house that I owned. Since there's some of you that are new to this channel, I just wanted to let you know I did own a house before and I sold it to live in the truck camper full time. Put my coffee cup down in the sand for a minute, I tell you. So I used to live in a small town in Alberta called Whitecourt, Alberta, and I basically had a house there. I bought the house about 6 years ago, and I bought it as a fixer-upper. I wanted to renovate it, and the plan always was to sell it. Now, my plan wasn't always to live in a truck camper. Back then, I was dabbling into like looking at seeing people doing this lifestyle and living in like vans or anything else, just vehicular living. And I never thought that I would be someone that would go do it, but I still like the idea of traveling around, car camping, all that kind of stuff. So I always watched the videos and everything. And then as time went on, I started really not liking my situation in the town I was in, and I felt kind of stuck. Life never really felt exciting anymore, and I was like, is this it? Is living in this house, am I just gonna sell this one, get another one? And I went through a lot of like going into debt just to fix up that house, and yeah, it wasn't the best experience. I'm glad what I learned. It was absolutely incredible seeing what the house used to look like to what it was when I sold it. And I did get to enjoy it for about 2 years as I was trying to sell it, because that's how long it took. It was not easy to sell. When I finally sold it, I decided, well, I'm leaving this town. So I moved into my truck camper, and the rest is kind of history. Things changed from that too. Like the idea was just to move into the truck camper and then go and enjoy a ski season and then go back to living in like an apartment or something. But this lifestyle has opened me up to like, I feel just as comfortable living in this as I did in my house. So why would I go and get an apartment when I'm okay with this and it's so much cheaper? So that's kind of what I've come to terms with. And for the foreseeable future, that's what I'm going to be doing, is living in this and making videos for you guys, I guess. Which brings me to some of the pros and cons of living in a truck camper versus living in a house. So my first one is obviously simple. It's cheap. Ideally, when I was living in my house, there was property taxes. You had a separate internet bill. You had to pay for water. You had to pay for garbage pickup. You had to pay for heat. And of course, electricity. Sometimes those can be the same thing, depends where you live. I live in Alberta, and everything's just about natural gas there. So yeah, I paid for natural gas all the time. So just those things alone like came to usually about $700 a month for that. And then on top of that, I had a mortgage too, and that was another $800 a month. It wasn't cheap. Where now, I think my most expensive bill is fuel, and I'd say in winter, I traded my heat bill for propane. So, and actually the propane still comes out to be cheaper usually. The most I've ever had to pay in a month for propane for this thing was about $300. And that's because we went through -40 and I couldn't get it filled somewhere. So I had to go do the tank exchange. So when you do the tank exchange, it's usually a lot more money. It's like, I think the best price I've ever seen for that is like $27, and that was at Canadian Tire. But after taxes, you're still paying about $30 a tank. It gets expensive. If always look and never rely on that propane exchange. If you can go out and get your tanks filled, do that. By the way, Costco's the cheapest by far. It's about 89 cents a pound. Sorry, it's 89 cents a liter. So another pro I'd say is with all the savings that I have, I can go out and travel more. When I had the house, the most part, I could go out and go on like ski vacations or whatever. And I did have the truck camper at the time, so I would go out, go on trips to places. But I wasn't able to save as much when I was living in the house because obviously I had more bills. So with all these savings that I have now, I'm able to finally get ahead and travel more, check out more places. And yeah, and as of like right now, I just took off 3 months to go travel around and just enjoy the summer. I basically started working full time since I left high school when I was 18. I'm 31 now, and this is the first time I've taken off more than 2 weeks. It felt really good to finally get to do that. I know there's people that work even longer and never take off more than that time, but I was just really excited that I was able to finally do something like this and take off some time and kind of change my lifestyle, not have to so much look at a job and be like, oh, I have to stay there because I have I have a mortgage to pay, I have rent to pay or something like that. And if I don't stay there and keep working, then I'm going to end up dead. I don't know. But now that I live in my truck camper, I look at situations like that, and if I don't like the job, I can just leave it and go get a different one, or I can go travel somewhere. I always have my home with me. If I like the area, I can find a job and stay a while and make some money while I'm there. Like, obviously I haven't done that this summer. I've been kind of just enjoying creating content and checking out the cool scenery. It's been quite great. But yeah, before with the house, like I couldn't take off 3 months. I couldn't go and do something like this. There's no way. It was a pipe dream for me. And now that I'm finally able to do it, it's incredible. I guess speaking of traveling more, that brings me to my next pro. It gets me out doing more of my passions. So like mountain biking, recently discovering longer hikes. That's a new one for me. I just tried that this year. The longest hikes I used to do before were like 5K, but now I'm doing ones that are like 36. Recently I just tried for King's Peak. I didn't get it done. You'll see that in a video eventually. And just other things like, well, for sure, snowboarding. There's something to be said about being able to go to the ski hill and your entire house is with you. You never feel like you're deprived because you have your home with you. And I guess that's kind of a pro too. When you have your house and you go on these trips, you know that feeling where you're like, oh, I know I forgot something. What did I forget? For the first little while when I was living in the truck camper and I was going on these trips in the winter to go to like ski resorts or anything, when I left town, I would get that feeling. I would be like, oh, what did I forget? And then I'd quickly remember, oh, everything I have is with me because I live in it. So you never forget anything anymore. That's not even a thought to me. Like, I have everything I need. It's always with me. The only time I ever think that now is when I go on a hike or something. I wonder if I forgot something like the bear spray or something like that, which I don't. I will turn around if I forgot the bear spray because I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. There's lots and lots of other pros to this, but those are the ones I wanted to list off. Now let's get into some of the cons. So obviously going into this, I thought to myself, the hardest part was going to be the cold days, the -40s and stuff like that, and just trying to keep things regular. So I made a plan. I was like, okay, I'll just winterize at -30, and if need be, I'll go get a campsite and just deal with it and ride it out through that. And that was my simple plan. And for the most part, it worked out. There was one time it didn't, but the next time that it happened, I was much more prepared and I had things figured out. That brings me to this summer. I did not realize how crappy it is to be inside the truck camper when it's like really hot out. When you're going through a heat wave or something. I almost went and bought a portable AC unit and was just going to run my generator and just run that in here. But I had done that before in previous truck campers and they don't work as well as you'd think. I didn't really want to waste money on that, and it would have cost me like $400 for one. So yeah, and then the other fact too is I would have been still lugging it around, and I obviously don't need it right now. I went through about a month of just dealing with the heat like that. And yeah, it was a lot to think of. I get why people go north now. It makes sense. Or the other fact too, when doing this lifestyle, getting a summer job and then working during like the heat wave and everything like that, I think that would be better because you'd be out doing something and it's a lot more easy when you're doing that. But when you're like video editing and you're sitting in the camper and it's really hot out, the only way to like get away from it is to go in the water. Like I can only paddleboard for so long. I know some of you could probably say, oh, I could spend all day on the paddleboard, and you probably could. Me though, I can maybe do 4 hours and then I'm like, yeah, I'm done. That brings me to, if you had a house or something, yeah, you do deal with that, but there's ways to mitigate it. And how I used to do that with the house was I had a portable AC unit because I had lots of storage for stuff like that. And I was able to just go into the basement because I had a basement and just hang out there. It was always cool. So that was an easier way to deal with that in a house. And I will say that, yeah, it's easier to deal with in a house. Now, I think another key thing to try and talk about too is while I haven't really had like any friends or family say anything negative about my new lifestyle or anything like this, something that does worry me, and I'm probably overthinking it, is finding work and living like this. Like if an employer finds out that I actually live in my truck camper, are they going to look at me as someone that's like, I don't look at myself as homeless, but they could, because I don't live in a traditional house or I don't pay rent or something like that. And the more I think about it, the more I think it's like, well, it's not really any of their business, is it? So you do get that feeling with it. And like the place I worked at before, I was very hush-hush about it for a while. And then as time went on, I stopped really caring enough that I literally told the CAO that I live in a truck camper. So, and honestly, that went fine. No one really questioned it. No one thought anything of it. I think most people knew what I wanted to do and like knew that stuff. I guess you guys will see how things go with me and finding another job for the winter. I know it's possible, and because lots of people do it. So I don't think I'm going to have an issue finding work with it. But I'd be lying if I said that it isn't in the back of my head thinking about that. Where if I had a house and I was applying for a job, I'd be more worried about my skills not being enough. Where now I'm like, my skills are enough. It's just the fact that I live in a truck camper that they might say no or something. Which I feel like no matter what you do, when you're applying for jobs and stuff, you're always kind of second guessing as to why they wouldn't hire you or something like that. I don't see this lifestyle being an issue finding a job in my criteria. So I don't know. We're going to have to see. I guess you guys will, and I'll keep you guys posted about that. But just letting you know, it does worry me a little bit. And I think that's finding work like that would be easier living in a house to the point of yourself not worrying about it. Trying to explain this, it's hard to talk about because I don't really see it as an issue, but I also see it as how it could be, how some people could look at it as an issue. You guys get what I'm saying. I love hash browns. This brings me to my last one, and me being a guy who kind of tries to watch his money and everything, I realized that the house I had would have appreciated more over time, and maybe in 15 years, it would have been an absolute steal of a living situation because like my wage would have been way higher by then. It would have been really cheap living. Maybe. Lots of other things go up in price, not just the mortgage, right? So there's that. But the value of the house 99% of the time goes up. And that would have worked out in my favor with it. Whereas owning the truck and the camper, every day that I'm driving it, every day that it's out here, it's going down in value little by little. I mean, in the last couple of years, truck campers have went up in value, same with vehicles, oddly. But in 10 years, this truck and this camper will probably be not worth much, if anything, especially with the rate that I'm driving them around. But the idea with that too is you are saving money. If you were someone in a renting situation, you are saving money going into something like this, and you do own it. If I took this camper and I sold it in 5 years, I would still get some money out of it. I would still get some money out of the truck. I wouldn't get nothing, and it wouldn't be what I paid for them, but it would still be something. Where renting, you're getting housing out of it. That's what you're getting. You're getting a roof over your head, but then you still have the other costs of life. Where this, you're kind of taking your costs and you're just making them smaller with this lifestyle. You're not really, instead of paying rent every month, you're paying a big lump sum up front and then getting something out of it. And then eventually you're going to have to do it again. And that's kind of the idea with it. And I understand that. And with the truck and the camper, I look at it as this works towards me being able to save more money and get to live the life that I actually want to live, rather than me staying in a house that was in a place. And I have to emphasize on this, like the house was in a place that I did not want to live. So yeah, keeping the house and everything like that, a lot of people have said that to me. They're like, oh, well, you could have kept it and just kind of powered through it and then you would have had a paid off house. Yeah, but there's something to be said about owning a house. You're proud of that and everything, but there's something to be said about owning a house and you just don't like the location it's in. You want to be somewhere else. Like right now I'm on the island and this is probably the closest to feeling like I'm at home. I'm definitely not done traveling yet. I'm definitely not done running around yet. And of course I'm going to be near a ski resort for the winter. But sometimes you go somewhere and it just feels like home. And that's the feeling I get when I'm on Vancouver Island now. It's crazy. Especially since I was thinking about not coming here. And now that I did, maybe that's the reason why I didn't want to come here, because I knew I wouldn't want to leave. People doing this lifestyle have a goal in mind. They have drive and they want something. So you get into this lifestyle and you say to yourself, no, you wanted something different out of life. You wanted something. So this is a drastic thing to do, to save for something drastic. And that's what this lifestyle allows people to do. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. But eventually it's going to pay off and you're going to be like, that was completely worth it. Because unfortunately, nothing is easy in life. And if it's easy, it's probably not worth it. So that's just the way it is. Good chat today, guys. By the way, I just seen this morning, the channel has hit 7,000 subscribers. And I'd like to thank every last one of you. From the bottom of my heart, it's incredible to see that you guys are liking the content. I can't wait to get more out and grow this channel more. I am in the process of starting a YouTube members. I don't know what it's going to be. I'm thinking it's just going to be daily updates of what's going on, but we'll see. I'd also like to add, is there anything you guys would like from the channel? Maybe I'll do a community poll or something, but like, do you guys have any questions or anything like that? I know I haven't done a Q&A before. Maybe I'll do a live stream. Would you guys be into actually coming to watch a live stream? I don't know. But anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below. And with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. And I can't wait to take you guys with me on the next one. Later.